Hello everyone, Zellerant here, and for today's video on Umamusume, we're going to be talking about pull priorities from this point going into the future. Now, this one's going to have the assumption that you've been playing for a little bit and are a little bit more established on your support card side of things when it comes to the SR cards, and are not needing a banner to pull heavily on right now to kind of establish yourself. But I will be making a future video for new players, because they'll have slightly different priorities depending on where they started the game at. So this is going to kind of assume like maybe you've pulled on the Kitasan Black banner, Super Creek banner, or whatnot. But with that, let's just go ahead and get into it. So we just had, or we currently have, the Summermaru Zenski banner, which was kind of the big Uma that we've talked about for a while now. You've already made your decision on whether or not you're going to be pulling for her, and probably already pulled for her at this point. And so you know where you're at carrot-wise. We're not going to talk anymore about the summer ones. We're going to kind of go past those as this is looking to the future at this point. And one of the nice things is when it comes to Umas, unless you have a big Oshi pick that you're like, I must have this one because they're like a favorite, you actually have quite a while until there's the like big pickups. Now I will say the big pickups are back-to-back. That's going to be the Majiro Dober, which is going to be kind of a... she has an ultimate inherit that's very similar to Majiro Ryan's that has a, but instead of 6th place, it's a 5th and 6th place activation. And then right after her is Christmas Oguri Cap, which is, yeah, everybody, you probably heard a lot about her, one of the more broken Umas. But we'll talk about them when we get to them kind of in the timeline. Instead, right now we're going to talk about the support cards. Now I've decided I didn't show this on previous videos, but I'm going to actually use it here since a lot of people seem to like it when we look at it on stream. And that is this Excel sheet that kind of showcases all the support cards coming up and like what their priority is in terms of, and then also kind of lists their value. Now, I will have a link to this in the description for those who want to kind of look through it and kind of help plan themselves out, because as time goes on, everyone's accounts are going to get more and more different, especially as some people start focusing on maybe a different strategy from others, whether they're big into the late surgers, they're big into the end closers versus they're big into the front runners. And so one of the things on this guide you will see is they have different sizes on the support card depending on their like priority. Small ones being the more niche ones, maybe more focused on specific strategies. Could very well mean it might be a must pull for your specific strategy. Mediums being the ones where they're going to be really good. You're going to see the scenario cards on here, but they're going to be short-lived, very good. So if you don't have it, you're going to be using it, as I kind of mentioned here. And then large are they just universally good. Kitasan Black. So just know that that's kind of what the size difference means here. And then I have the really giant one with Urara here. She's that one in the shop. Everybody can get her. She's actually going to be very good once we get the Guts rework. So you'll eventually want to make sure to have her. But with that, let's just go ahead and start from right where we're at. And one of the nice things is the big one coming up. You've probably already heard plenty of videos on it. And that is going to be the Riko banner. And that is because this one is going into the next scenario. And so this one's going to be, you either get it or you're going to be borrowing. Now, if you're having to borrow it and you don't have like an MLB Kitasan Black or like something else to kind of carry you, it can hurt really bad if you don't get it. Now, one of the nice things on this banner, and everybody's already mentioned it, you don't need the SSR herself. The big thing is you can get the MLB of the rare card, which will be rate up on this banner. And it's about the equivalent of a limit break 1 of the SSR, which is all you ultimately need to really take the full value out of it. And the big thing is this is kind of like a Tizuna, but on the stamina side of things, has very, very good events that kind of covers those things here. We don't need to go into details on it too much. I'll have a dedicated video on the card itself. You've probably already seen plenty of people talking about it. So just know this is the very big one coming up. You should be saving your carrots for. And with that, after that, you actually have quite a big opening. Now, there is one I just kind of skipped over there, which is the fine motion one. That one is going to be, it's been talked about. I've talked about it. Others have talked about it quite a bit. It is a lower priority now that I've really kind of looked into it. They mentioned here the big 15% race bonus, and I think that's the biggest thing on it. It's also got on your left for your late surgers. So if you're building a late surge, it'll have that huge value. But when it comes to that 15% race bonus, one of the things is when you actually look at the support cards coming up, and then you go by race bonus, and we'll start with the descending here. We'll include all. Why is it? There we go. So I'll have all of them here. So the 15% is kind of the big thing you're looking at. This is for scenario 3. So after scenario 2, we'll have scenario 3, which is make a new track, which is a lot of racing. And you want a minimum of 50% race bonus, but preferably a 60%. And so that's why the 15% are really, really good. Now, we already have one that has 15, which is going to be the Nishino Flower Power / Speed card, depending if you have it. SR cards, a lot easier to MLB, so you have that option there for one of them. And then we also have the free-to-play power card we'll get at some point near it, which is going to be this Marvelous Sunday. I believe it's this one. And then we'll also have another card that'll be pretty easy to get because there'll be the crystals to MLB your SR cards, just like there's the ones for the SSRs, but we'll get a lot more of the SR ones. All you need is one copy of like Admire Vega, and you'll be able to add on to that one and make that one MLB. So we have a lot of options, and then you have plenty of 10s kind of mixed in there. And so even though Nice Nature is one of those 15% race bonuses, especially when it comes to having a strong wit, it is not going to be mandatory in that aspect. So don't feel pressured on that. The Riko one is just way more valuable, especially going into scenario 2. And then with that, I mean, it's pretty open from that point forward, as you can kind of see here. I mean, you have the Rice Shower that's on the Riko banner. You'll get her alongside of it. Really, really good. And everything else here is pretty much small and isolated to very specific things, all the way up until we get to actually the next big Uma and support cards. And that's going to be at the tippity top here. But when it comes to cards that are already out there that maybe you want to pull on, I think everybody knows about this one coming up. And that is going to be Kitasan Black's rerun. This is going to be your opportunity to MLB her. Now, we do have the half anniversary that's going to give us the one of the selectors to select one of the previous SSR cards to guarantee you get it. Like, you can just select one of them, as well as one of the currency that allows you to upgrade or add a limit break to any support card that you currently have. In my opinion, the thing that you'll want to do, it'll really kind of depend where you're at, is hold on to both of those, especially before the Riko banner. Pull on the Riko banner and see what you get. The last thing you want to do is use those currencies and get a card that you end up getting dupes of on Riko, and they just turn into those cleats, which are not really all that useful because they get you like 1 or 2 pulls. Pull on this banner, then maybe you make the decision to use them. I personally, for most people, especially if you are solid where you're at right now and you get yourself in a good shape with Riko and you're looking at Kitasan Black, would be to kind of skip everything at that point. Hopefully you're saving up tons of carrots by this. And then you have that Kitasan Black that'll be coming up a month or so later. This is the point where I'd say dump 200 pulls in. Hopefully at that point you MLB her. Or if you're just unlucky, you'll get that 1 pity, and then you can use that currency to top her off to hopefully have her MLB at that point. But if everything works out, you MLB Kitasan Black here and continue to actually hold on to those currencies. Then you can use that selector for, say, Fine Motion / Super Creek to try and get one of those up to that 3 limit break. I have Super Creek and Fine Motion at 3 limit break, and alongside with the MLB Kitasan Black, it just makes your life so much easier and flexible when it comes to borrows. And that's why I think it's just advised, in my opinion, to hold on to those currencies until you get to this point and can reroll, or not reroll, but can pull on this one just to see what you end up with. So you can at least try and have all 3 of them at least 3 limit break, where they're all valuable, and that gives you that very flexible borrow. So that's Kitasan Black, and then right after her, I mean, this sucks, they just come back to back. Kitasan Black reroll, then it's the big Uma pickups. Now you have Majiro Dober, and you have Oguri Cap Christmas. Now, depending on if you're willing to spend or not, we will have the ability on the anniversary to buy a selector. And and this is going to be for an Uma selector, and this is going to be like $20 to $30. If there's any amount of money you're willing to spend on this game, that's going to be the biggest value. You got to think, 200 pulls is $400. So you're basically saving the equivalent of $400 of carrots for $20 to $30 if you spend it now. There's 2 here. And so this is something I'm still debating on. I'm going to be buying the selector for one of them and then pulling on the other one. And it's going to come down to the champions meeting on whether Oguri Cap's actually going to be good in one. I think she might be decent for one of them coming up, but the anniversary is like literally not that long after. And so my opinion is if you're willing to spend would be to pull on one of these if you have the carrots for it. If you don't, I would skip both these. Do not pull if you don't have the 200 carrots to pull. But the big thing on Majiro Dober is the fact that she's kind of like a Majiro Ryan alt, but it activates in 5th and 6th place. But it does have some conditions assigned to it, so it's not as good as Majiro Ryan's in terms of the conditions, but it is a lot better in that you can be in 5th or 6th place. So if your late surge or your end closer pushes up too far, and oh man, they're in 5th place. Well, they got the equivalent of kind of a let's pump some iron that they can use still in 5th. So that alongside, like if Redshift is good on that track, can be very, very strong. So you have that. And then Oguri Crap Christmas. You've probably all heard of how good she is. She's just absolutely broken in everything. I mean, you can look at what they mentioned on the reference document. She can be reworked to work in most tracks and different strategies as well. She even works as a front runner for some tracks. We'll go way more in depth on her when she actually drops, or is getting close to dropping. Just know she is very, very good. She is meta level in a lot of tracks, and has a very controllable kit within her. And then after that, things are actually, again, going to get a little bit easier to kind of skip a lot of stuff, unless you have like an Oshi pick on the Umas, all the way up until the Matikanefukukitaru speed card. This one's going to be a kind of a weird one. In my opinion, I'm thinking I'm going to skip it, but she is a 10% race bonus speed card. She's kind of like your friend card for the 3rd scenario, which I believe will be coming up around this time is like when it'll be coming out, or I think not long after it. And so she is a speed card, so you will get rainbows off of her on speed, but she has a lot of initial stats, which to me is going to be really good, because one of the big things is to make a new track, you're going to be doing a lot of races, and a lot of your stats are going to come from that. And so just having a lot of initial stats, having training effectiveness, so she kind of gives you that training effectiveness when she lands on things, as well as the race bonus 10%. Make a new track, you're going to want, like I said, 50 to 60% on the race bonus, making her very nice. One of the things that kind of sucks about Kitasan Black for making a new track, she's only got 5% race bonus. So just know she kind of falls off for the 3rd scenario. You can make her work with multiple 15% to kind of still raise up your race bonus. But Kitasan Black does fall off because of her lack of 10%. So getting like one of these ones would be good. Now, this is also a banner that for the New Year's, they are going to give us a ton of free pulls that have to, from what I understand. This is what I've heard. I haven't seen like verification of it. But we will get a bunch of pulls on this banner, like 50 to 100 pulls. You have to use them on that banner. So that's another reasoning to potentially pull on it, is you're going to be that close to pity. You will only need to use, for example, 15,000 carrots to hit pity versus 30,000 if it's 100. I don't know the actual amount. There'll probably be more details on that comes out, but I think it was like 50 to 100. But I've heard conflicting information. But that's the big thing on this one. I don't think it's going to be a must-have, especially if you've already kind of established yourself on support cards. You have your, you can kind of look through what cards you have and see what you have race bonus-wise. Like I said, if you have that Nishino Flower Power card, that's 15%. There's going to be the free-to-play one that's a 15%. Those two alone can make up for using, say, Kitasan Black as one of your speed cards. And so I feel like this one will be an easier skip. Now, You can also, you'll always have the ability to borrow one as well going into it. Like you can, depending on your needs, you need a wit card, you have the ability to borrow here. Because hopefully at this point you have MLB Kitasan Black. I would make the assumption by this point, your Kitasan Black's MLB since we've had the rerun of it. And so you have a lot more flexibility in the borrowing in that sense. And so after that, like you can see, a lot of the big ones coming out after that going into 2026 are more specific to playstyle. So you have your like long debuffer gold, front runner acceleration gold. So it's just telling you what skills they have on them. Very niche, not really must-haves. And the next big one, which is quite a ways off, as you can kind of see here, you have two big cards that will be kind of back to back. And this is kind of where we're going to stop to when it comes to priorities. On the support cards will be the Sumaru Zensky support card, and then right after it will be the next scenario, which is right here. I forget the name of it, but that's going to be kind of the Riko of the fourth scenario. We're not going to go into depth on that one. And so with that, that's the support cards. Let's finish off with some more Umas. Going into the new year, or well, it won't be our new year. I think we'll already be past New Year's at this point. But so this banner right here, I'm talking with people. This one is a bait banner. So what this one allows is going to have every Uma in it. So what this one can be, this one may have potential value, especially if you're not willing to spend any money in the game. If you're not willing to spend any money, this is going to be your opportunity if you don't have, for example, Seiyun Sky or some other Uma in here that you really want. Maybe you started a little bit late, you don't have them. This is when you pity on this banner here, you can select any one of them. So you don't have Seiyun Sky, hold on this banner until you get to pity, and then you can select Seiyun Sky. Now, if you're willing to spend money, you can just buy the selector ticket on the anniversary and get that specific Uma. So unless you have like two that you really need, then I would skip this one if you're willing to spend for that. And a big reason for that, as well as you continue forward here, we have some more big pickups coming up as well. I think a lot of people who have seen the struggle that Sumaru Zensky is going to have for frontrunners are probably looking forward to this one if they really want to get into frontrunners but have an easier time, and that's going to be the Mihono Bourbon Valentines. She is going to be extremely good and continues to be extremely good because of how easy she is to build. She has groundwork built in. She has escaped artist built in. She has concentration built in. And she has wet conditions. And she has speed eater. She has everything. You literally can just throw really high compatibility Umas on her, and you should be able to mostly get everything you need. Oh yeah, I missed Frontrunner Savvy as well. So you have one of your greens just right off the bat. And if you're really one of those gamblers, I mean, you have two. You have Concentration, which is kind of a second one that can be used to activate it, especially because at this point you're going to be starting to get really, really high wit. Wit's going to be a more important focus as well. So she's going to be a big pickup. I think anyone who wants to do Frontrunner, she is a massive pickup. Even if you don't want to use her, she's so easy to build as a parent too, because she has everything built in. And Mihono Bourbon has one of the highest compatibilities with Sumaru Zensky, as well as some of the other Frontrunners, which if you don't have, you're probably struggling right now to build Sumaru Zensky because of that. We have that. And then kind of going, and one nice thing on there is Aishin Flash is actually pretty decent as well. If you're into your Dominators, she's one of the few Dominators in the game. So hopefully you can pick her up alongside on that one as well to have your Dominator build, which I have found have paired decently well with Frontrunners to help, or if you're wanting to counter other Frontrunners going into the late race, if you're not doing Frontrunners, to slow them down for your Pace Chasers or Late Surgers or Enclosers to catch up. And so with that, the next big one here, I would say, kind of going up the list, would be Kitasan Black, if you like your Frontrunners. It's another one of those if you like your Frontrunners. These are the ones that I've kind of focused on the most. You have Find Motion right before it, though. This is going to be your opportunity to hopefully pull on that one. Get it at least to Limit Break 3, depending on the carrots you have. And then after that, Kitasan Black. Man, I hate that it goes right back to the top here. But after Find Motion here, Kitasan Black, if you're really wanting to go in the front runner. She's the long front runner, so she'll do good on long races, unlike Summer Muruzensky, who's going to struggle a little bit more there. But there's just a lot of back-to-back here. It's kind of why you want to take advantage of that big open space you see here in support cards. After Riko, especially if you already have MLB Kitasan Black because you rerolled on it, you have a lot of time. You can just not spend any carrots. You can save 60 to 90k if you're willing to skip past a lot of these, if you're already fairly established. And because at this point, you got the Kitasan Black, you have the Fine Motion. This banner is in my opinion, you're going to pull for actually this SR card. This is that one that I mentioned that has the 15% race bonus. You only need one copy. At this point in time, we will be getting that currency that adds limit breaks to support cards. You'll get the SR ones more often. You're just going to want to hoard those. And this is the card. You get one copy of this card, which has rate up on SR, which is... you'll get a lot more often, although it's only 1% rate. And then you just use those on this card to bring up the 15%. But you can probably get away without even pulling on it. We've already looked at the other ones that have 15%. It's not a must-have, but just know you have that one right there as an opportunity. And then after that, you're got another little kind of period of nothing big coming up. Yeah, it's nothing really crazy all the way into... You get to, if you like your end closers, you have the Mr. CB and Wit card. Very good for your end closers. Has a lot of the stuff built in, including straightaway spurt. So this will be a big pickup for them. If you're not doing end closers, it's an easy skip. And then, man, keep going. Okay, so go there. Yeah, it's like a long period again before any big ones. I feel like I've passed it. Oh no, it's right here. There's two big ones, and this is where we're gonna stop. This is kind of going really far into the future. I'm just kind of trying to give you a plan out. Two big ones here on the summer. It depends. Gold Ship Summer is very, very good for team trials, and if you want to do some weird combinations with your Umas, I think could be really fun. We'll talk about her in a second. The big one is going to be the Summer Muruzensky card here. I've already mentioned it a lot. This is the one that power creeps Summer Muruzensky herself because you can't use it on her. And that is because it is just very, very, very good for your front runners. So this is going to be pretty much always in your front runner deck for a while. And once you get it, has a really good gold, has like all the good front runner stuff in it, including groundwork. If you have an Uma that another front runner that doesn't come with it, like Valentine's Bourbon, Playtime's Over, Slipstream, Leader's Pride, Frontrunner Corners, Frontrunner Straightaways, and it gives hint levels 2, unlike the Silent Suzuka one that gives level 1. So a little bit better on the hints, as well as the frequency. Amazing card to get. If you want to do Frontrunners, that's going to be a must-have, which is why you see it right here as a big one, even though it's for front. If you're not going to do Frontrunners at all and you hate Frontrunners, it'll be skippable. But it's just that good. That's why they put it as a big one here. But then we have the last one we're going to talk about here on priorities. And this is if you just want to do it. One, it'll help a lot with team trials, which isn't the highest priority in my opinion. But yeah, I already went pine again. I'll go all the way back down here. That is going to be a Gold Ship Summer. And she's just going to be fun because she has a very unique, I'm saying that twice, but basically what her unique does is in the second half of the race, she will activate 2 gold skills at random, ignoring their condition. And what that effectively means is she can activate any gold she has in the second half of the race, no matter what it is. And when you inherit, now she does 2, the inherit does 1. But what this allows for is Dominator is for medium races, for example. Well, now you can put Dominator on a long race. Now, it's random. So it is random. The nice thing is, one thing that can be really nice with Dominator randomly activating versus activating a late race is maybe you slow down everybody before you get to late race and allow a lot easier time at passing and positioning Or you can do Mystifying Murmur on long races. I don't know how strong that'll be, because at this point stamina's not going to be as much of a problem, but it does allow for some kind of jankiness with that. Also, very good on team trials. I mean, it's a free activation of a random gold. A lot of points there. And Gold Chip will do 2 of them, so she'll get a crap ton of points herself. And then you just put it on all of your other Umas in team trials. They'll get an extra activation of a gold. Really, really, really nice. But it is for kind of doing some janky builds. Not a must-have. I just thought it's a very good, notable Uma to pull. And that'll be pretty much it up to that point. I mean, because after that, you're pretty much waiting. You have a lot of rerun type stuff you're looking at going into, like, the next big one after that's going to be the next scenario card. Going into scenario 4, I believe it's this one, the Light Hello card. This one will be a must pull. Like, every scenario after 4 and later, from what I understand, are like must pulls in the same way that Riko kind of is. Don't need high limit breaks on it, but just must pulls, or else you're going to be borrowing it because of the mechanics of the new scenarios. But that's pretty much it. I don't want to go any farther. It's already enough information that I kind of given here. I will have a link to this in the description, like I had said, that kind of showcases all the cards. This is very easy and good to look at, depending on what you're doing, because I did skip over a lot of cards, all these smaller ones that you might like, that are very niche. Especially the strategy-specific ones, like this one having like Daring Attack, for example, or this one being good for short distances. Like, there's so few short distance champions, meaning I'm not going to bring that up as a priority one. But that will be useful for you if you want to take a look at it, especially if you're a heavier spender and you're willing to MLB a lot of cards. But that's it for now, and if you like my content, if you could like, comment, and subscribe, it really helps, and thanks for watching.